All right. Finally got this figured out. It's the second time. Check, check. 1, 2. Turn this up a little bit. All right. Well, welcome to the Night Hunting Podcast. This is episode number 2. And actually, last week was supposed to be episode number 2. I started 2 weeks ago with episode number 1, just basically talking about my story and how I got into nighttime hunting. And last week I got sick with a stomach bug, and I was so sick that I couldn't even get on a live stream. So I just kind of left it at that. And here we are again today. That's a week later, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And we are actually live right now, recording this live stream. And this is the Night Hunting Podcast. And in this episode, we are going to talk about what is night hunting. So, a little background on that. I do got to fix this chair. Apologies on that. I'll try to sit still as possible. But what is night hunting? So, back in the day, started out as a deer hunter. I'm sure a lot of people that are night hunters now come from some kind of hunting. But I used to just hunt during the day, and actually just only during deer season, which I'd never been a big bow hunter. So really, I was just hunting from basically October, black powder season to January here in Florida. And so basically like 4 months out of the year. And as time went on, I started hunting on this one property where there were tons and tons of pigs, and saw my first night vision scope, was able to afford one. Back then it was about $700. I bought one, put it on an AR, was kind of messing around with AR-15s back then, just built one and did some stuff. And I put that on there and sighted it in. And I was just so amazed at how you could see so clearly in black and white at nighttime, just with a digital scope and an IR illuminator. So I did that, got it set up, and started hunting feeders at night because the pigs would just basically come in and eat all the corn. And killed my first pig that way, and then started killing pigs a lot more, and upgraded scopes a little bit. And then in the process of that, started bringing out some friends, and we started doing more of it. And a little small piece of property, I would bring my golf cart out, and we would kind of ride around from spot to spot and catch things moving and catch things eating at the feeders and shoot the pigs. And really, really fun stuff. Really cool. I'll never forget the first time that I ever looked through the night vision. And then beyond that, to go and look into thermal for the first time, it's just like a complete life-changing experience. So basically, all this stuff started evolving, and we were hunting one night with night vision, and a buddy came up from South Florida and had a thermal, and we looked through that the first time. And I was actually a little late that night. By the time I got there, they had already killed a pig and a coyote. And I looked through that thing for the first time, and it was just completely mind-blowing that you could see as much as you could see with no effort at all, no lights, no nothing, just the scope. And that was, like I said, life-changing. So from there, started getting into the whole, selling scopes and stuff like that, and ended up getting my first thermal. And I guess the rest is kind of history. But I wanted to go back and talk about the night hunting. So basically, when I think of night hunting, I think of a couple of things. Now, when I was a kid, night hunting basically, there were people that did it, and it was a little bit different. I mean, I had a buddy that I grew up with that I spent a lot of time in the woods. We would shoot a lot, pellet guns, 22s, and he used to hunt a lot as well. And I remember him and his dad, they used to coon hunt, and they had dogs, and they would go run coons and then tree them and then shoot them out with a 22. So that was one style of night hunting back in the day, and I'm sure people still do that. Um, and then the other style was the kind that you get in trouble. And that was, whenever somebody would go get dropped off with a gun and a light and trespass on a property and shoot a big buck or something, drag it out, get caught. Also, just using a gun and a light on the side of a road. I can't say that I ever did that, or at least I can't say that I can say that I did it, but I can say that I never actually harvested anything illegally doing it that way. So, but that was highly illegal when I was growing up in the mid 80s. And I know quite a few people that they lost a lot of rights because of it, because they got caught, they got to pay hefty fines and stuff like that. So fast forward to, 2016, 17, stuff like that. It actually became legal in the state of Florida to hunt hogs and coyotes at night with a gun and a light. And that was really a cool thing, because the amount of pigs that can produce every year from one sow and one boar is, I think, up to 30. They can have up to 15 babies twice a year. And the coyotes, when I was growing up, didn't really see a lot of them, just only while I was deer hunting. But now I see them everywhere. Maybe that's just because I know what to look for and I'm always hunting, but definitely tons and tons of coyotes everywhere in the state of Florida. And like I said, in the state of Florida right now, it is, in 2023, it is legal to hunt hogs and coyotes at night on private property with written landowner permission. There's really not many restrictions whatsoever. So I would definitely recommend, though, whatever state that you're in, to always check your local laws. They are different everywhere you go. I know I have a buddy in northwestern Alabama that I used to go deer hunting with. He's been down here a couple times, and it was not legal to hunt anything at night up there until last year. They made it legal. And I almost went up there deer hunting this year, and it is still illegal to even have a device that can see at night while deer hunting there. And they do not allow any kind of nighttime hunting during deer season there. But once deer season ends, I believe they open it back up, or they have some season for night hunting. And it is like that in different places. Some have seasons, some it's year round. But definitely in Florida, we are year round, 24/7. Pigs and coyotes. So pigs and coyotes, also, what is night hunting? Well, my wife's uncle has lots of farmland. He's been a farmer his whole life, generations actually. And a couple of years ago, growing watermelons, the deer would get in the watermelons and destroy the watermelons. He got some tags. I got my first taste of a deer depredation tag, which, by the way, is my favorite way to harvest meat for the freezer. Couple tags, quite a bit of a process, actually. Farmer has to apply for permits in the state of Florida. Farmer has to apply for the permit of deer depredation. FWC comes out, inspects the property. They approve the permit or not. Once approved, if there are deer in the field, you can shoot them and leave them in the field. No tags, no problem. Deer depredation. I did that once, went for another farmer and shot 2 bucks and put them in the back of the field and left them. And I will never do that again because I like deer meat so much. I honestly would rather eat deer meat year round than eat beef. And that's part of my just love for hunting. And so I did that once and will never do it again. So for me, I look at deer depredation as a bonus. It is a way to help farmers. It can be a pain, but in the process of that, it's definitely a good way to get in with farmers, help farmers, and in the process of all of the deer depredation that I had completed with my wife's uncle, I met another farmer, and he had around maybe 400 or 500 acres total of farmland that he was working. And in a 3-month span, we were able to harvest 30 deer. So I definitely had a full freezer then. I cleaned, it was a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. It was a lot of work, but still a bonus. Able to take my kids and do it. Able to bring and give a lot of deer meat away, and able to stock my freezer for a ridiculous amount of time and help the farmer at the same time. So deer depredation, definitely a cool thing as far as the night hunting goes. So night hunting is just fun. It's fun. I enjoy taking people that have never been. I enjoy going with my friends once, twice a week, as well as, running my scope business, which is Perceptive Outdoor Gear, and then, doing what I do. So squeaky chair. So then, night hunting, obviously, it takes place at night in the dark. What is really required to do night hunting? Well, back in the day, I say back in the day, but back when I was getting out of high school, I remember we used to look at prices of night vision, and night vision back then, was generation 1, 2. I don't even know if they had 3 back then, but generation 1 was always a little bit less clear than generation 2. And I remember looking at stuff and it was like $20,000 or $30,000, and we would always, fantasize about how we were going to buy some someday and use it. Just really cool stuff. But basically generation 1 and 2, they're using some kind of intensifier tube. This is like real old school night vision, which really there's still a ton of that around. There's still a ton of new stuff around. Generation 3, white phosphorus. Some of the baddest stuff you could ever look through, but it's pricey. To get just like a small monocular or helmet style unit like that starts anywhere from $2,000 and goes on up. So, but still very good stuff. And I'm sure I know they have generation 1, 2 scopes. One of the brands that I sell, which is AGM, they actually have scopes that are generation 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, I believe. And they're up there. They're like $3,000 to $5,000, I think. But then in order to do night hunting, if you didn't have that kind of money, you could always just get out in the field with just a gun and a spotlight. And a funny little story, the first time before I did buy the first night vision scope, which was digital night vision, I basically had a AR-15 223 rifle, and I just had basic 3x9x40 compact scope on it. It was just an NC Star, not very good at all. I don't even know if it was true 3x9, honestly, but it was just a small compact scope, 0 to 100. And the first thing I ever did was I had a small, actually, I still have it. Let me grab it real quick. I had a small, just a small Stanley spotlight LED, which would go about 100 yards. And I basically just zip tied this thing to my rail, to the bottom of my rail on my AR as a forward handle. And then I would just hold the gun and hold the forward handle and light it up. I never really took anything with that, but it was just kind of funny, the ingenuity. And I'm sure a lot of people used that kind of stuff back in the day. I know, shining a field or whatever and seeing eyeballs shine back at you was the way to go back then. But then, the digital night vision came out and it was cheap enough, and that's what we started out with. So digital night vision, a little bit different than your, than your regular night vision. Digital night vision just uses a camera. It uses a camera sensor, and basically all your cameras, a regular color camera is using an IR filter, but a regular camera, or at least without the IR filter in the dark, if you put an IR light there, 850 or 940 nanometers, it will actually light up. It's the craziest thing. And I guess the technology's been around for a while. I remember back then also, looking at homemade night vision and stuff where people were putting cameras together and they were kind of like making little goggles and stuff like that. And I was always intrigued by that. And then the first scopes started coming out and I'm like, man, this is really cool. And then thermal has always been out, or I think it's been out for quite a while. Again, it's more of a digital thing. I mean, these digital scopes that are out now, if you don't have batteries, they don't run. So, it's not like a regular glass scope where you look in one end and you can see out the other as long as the lens cap is off or whatever. But these scopes, there's no pass through on them. There's basically a camera or sensor on one end, and then on the other end there is basically a small computer screen, and you're looking in on a tiny little screen that's magnified through the front lens, the eyeball lens, and then on the back it's generally adjustable for your focus, is adjustable for different distances. So I know the higher tier ones some of the higher tier units and the bigger, better sensors that are in them, they don't require even a focus on the rear. But most of your good units are going to have focus, and they're going to have an eye adjustment on the eye side. But that's basically the units that people are using for the for night hunting. The cool thing is that not only are there rifle scopes and scopes that go on weapons, but also there are monoculars, there are units that have control where you can swing them left and right and up and down and actually put them on top of a vehicle and run them to a screen so you can see where you're going. There's all kinds of ways that you can see in the dark and just to do this stuff. And generally, the way that we night hunt here in Florida, or at least the way that we night hunt, meaning me and my crew, we go to a spot. It could be anywhere from 60 acres to 1,000 acres. We go there, we park, we unload the cart, we put all of our stuff on there, tripods. Generally, everyone has their own tripod. Sometimes I carry multiple guns, electronic call, I carry a drag with me, a wind detector, and we basically load the cart down and we ride and we get off on spots. If we see one, we get off and call. It's pretty fun for sure. And generally, everywhere I go around here, like right now, there's a full moon and it is so bright outside that you have to hide in the shadows to hunt. You have to stick to the tree lines when you're moving around on the golf cart. But even on a dark night, most places around here, the towns give off so much light that you don't even really need lights. And, for me, I'm basically stealthy. I like to stay as dark as possible all the time, unless, we have one down and we're taking a picture at the very end. But basically, that's what our rundown is. We load all of our stuff on a cart, we go, and I know no matter where you are, you can't always do that. I know carts aren't good in mountains, especially a two-wheel drive golf cart. Totally get that. I really don't understand why. I mean, obviously the side by side and the four-wheel drive, that's definitely a way better unit, but I really don't understand why they don't have more four-wheel drive golf carts with bigger range from the batteries. I mean, the cart that I have is just a lifted easy go 48-volt cart, electric. It's super quiet. It's so hard not to, it's so easy to slip up on things with that thing. So, I mean, the worst really you have is the moonlight that's going to blow your cover. But other than that, like as far as quietness goes, I mean, it is ridiculously quiet. So, using that has definitely been a huge advantage. We're not, the crew that I have, we're not like killing 50 at a time. That's not what we do, but we definitely try to get out once a week. We definitely have quite a few properties that we hunt. I have quite a few friends that I shift back and forth with, and I am constantly picking up new properties, and it's just plain fun. So for example, I just picked up like another 1,000 acres, which at the end of deer season, which is really cool because the end of deer season really just cranks up night season for me. But for me, I don't really spend a lot of time during deer season lately. I just try to hunt once a week, sometimes twice a week. I try to stay active year round in the night hunting, doing more shooting, trying to stay more, at least exercised in the fact of shooting, making sure that I'm still sighted in, doing things, learning. I love calling. I love taking people out and calling for them. So, we're just out having fun doing this stuff, and it is a blast. Again, talking about the bonuses, the deer hunting to me is a bonus, but also black coyotes are a bonus. In the span that we've been hunting, basically for about 3 years, we've been hunting pretty steady. We have ended up with 2 black coyotes, and that was actually in the span of a week. Or yeah, I think it was in the span of 7 days. We ended up killing 2 in 2 different areas. So, but there's definitely a lot of them around. There's definitely places that we go that I know they're there. And the coolest thing is, using a thermal and not being able to tell what color it is, and then going up and lighting them up and seeing a black one. That's always been a really cool thing. Definitely want to get a pelt of one that's black coming up. But here in Florida, as far as the dogs that we are working on, a lot of them have mange. So, and I mean, in one area that we hunt, a lot of them have mange, and sometimes it's all over their whole body. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 weeks, I saw a picture of one on a hunting lease that somebody shot on a property next door, and it was chupacabra. It had 0 hair left on it, just from mange. And then I was out at another spot that we have, which is about around 1,000 acres, and somebody saw another one, and same thing, zero hair, and it's in the same spot where there's a lot of mange. We actually hunted that same spot a couple of years ago, maybe last year. And one time we went there, and one of the dogs, my buddy shot at him, but he was moving and he missed. Sometimes we miss, it happens. But he had a big ball on his tail. His tail kind of came down, and then there was like a ball at the very end of it. And the next weekend we went there again, and I ended up shooting that dog and the coyote, and he definitely had a big pile of mange on his tail. So, the mange is definitely, we're doing him a favor, I would think. There's no way to really fix that unless I don't even think there's a way to cure it, especially for a wild coyote. So, but in the areas that we're hunting, we are, for the coyotes, we are basically protecting cows. The calves, when they drop, the coyotes are eating the afterbirth. And when there's, packs of them around, like in that same spot where I was just talking about, 1,000 acres, we were out there 2 weeks ago on Thursday night, and we ended up killing one, and we saw 7. So, there's definitely a pretty hefty population of them. And when the calves are dropping, and especially a calf gets weak, they'll take it down, they'll eat it. That same farmer there, which is kind of related, or which is definitely related to me or my family, he's got another 1,500 acres just to the east there, and there was 3 calves that got killed in the same spot. So, we're just trying to keep pressure on the coyotes, let them know that, it's not free range. And, again, we're chasing, we're having fun. And that's what night hunting is to me. So, cool thing though. I just wanted to talk about the night hunting this time. I guess every week we'll talk about a topic with this podcast. Definitely want to start lining out some guests to come on. I'm not sure how that's going to go yet. I've never really interviewed anybody before. I'm going to try to keep this live. So I'm not even sure. I need to get better at the live thing, because the reason why I'm doing it live is because I want to be able to see comments and stuff. And the comments are, right here. So at least I know where to look for them. I'm learning how to get this thing going, which is cool. But I think if I do the whole interview thing, it'll just be something that I throw on there as a bonus, because I don't think I can do it live. It's just too much to try to do all at one time live. But I definitely want to start sprinkling some interviews in here and start building this thing. I know it's going to be a good thing, especially with the popularity of all these scopes and stuff that's been for the last couple of years. So with that being said, the night hunting podcast right now, we're going to say the top sponsor of that is Perceptive Outdoor Gear. That is my store. On there, you can find, scopes, you can find accessories, you can find all kinds of stuff on there, everything to do with night hunting. We've been in business for 2 years, and we really enjoy not only helping people with the stuff. I mean, there's, I have a YouTube channel as well, Perceptive Outdoors on YouTube. Got lots of how-to videos on there. And I mean, random people call me all the time just to ask me questions about scopes, and I just answer them because I know a lot about these scopes. I've had a lot of time with them, and not just one. I mean, multiple brands, multiple units, night vision, thermal, monoculars, So I'm here to help. It's fun, and, hopefully I can help you one day, or, if not, then maybe you'll just watch this and maybe it'll be cool. as cool as it is for me. So that's pretty much it for this episode. We'll try to keep them around 30 to 45 minutes, I would believe. And next week, we're going to talk more about gear and, what kind of gear that I'm using. And I'm going to break it down pretty deep as far as rifle goes and stuff like that. But every gear that we use. So also, I'm working on something pretty big. Kind of like don't want to blow the lid off of it yet, but just bought a domain name this evening, and that's going to be really cool as well, hopefully. So, stay tuned. If you like the podcast so far, I mean, obviously it's my first couple episodes, and yeah, it's going to take me a little bit to get my voice on here and figure all this stuff out. But as I keep going, which I will keep going, it's all going to, get better, hopefully, and it's going to grow. And, so I'm working on that. So stay tuned for some cool stuff coming out. Also, just to give you a quick, overview of where I'm at right now. I just got the brand new Icotech Night Stalker Plus. I'm working on figuring out how to run that thing. Really cool. For the longest time, you can call pigs with certain calls, and I have another brand which is Convergent. It's just an app with a bunch of pig sounds on it, and this Night Stalker runs Bluetooth, and the pig sounds are on my phone, and that app will actually let you unlock the app on the phone so that I can play those sounds on this caller, which is really cool. It gives you more versatility. And I'm gonna tell you, calling pigs with sounds, definitely have done that before on a small piece on the outside of town here where we shoot a lot of pigs. I just put my phone on top of a feeder one time and turned it on, and the pigs came out. It was the craziest thing. So who knew you could call pigs with a caller? And actually, back in the day, nobody really knew until one guy named Glenn Guess started doing it. He started recording sounds, and then he got involved with that app on there. I don't think he's affiliated with them anymore, but it's really cool to be able to do that, or at least have that availability, especially if you see a pig, maybe to get him turned around if he's running or whatever. So, but that's one of the things. I also got another small call that I'm working with as well by Icotech called the Rascal. It's a small $89 Bluetooth call. I'll be doing some stuff with that later. And just, doing my weekly hunting, and we'll be talking about that a little bit too. Got a couple of trips booked this week. So hopefully next week we'll have some good insight on what's going on around here. And that's pretty much it. So if you, listen to this or watched it or whatever, go ahead and drop a like if you liked it. If you think I am horrible, put it in the comments, because guess what? I understand it's not the best yet, but it will get better. So, and if you want to be, notified whenever I'm going live, which is going to be every Tuesday night at 9:00 Eastern time, then subscribe. And we're going to go ahead and end this. So until next week, this has been the Night Hunting Podcast, episode number 2, and we will see you on the next episode.